Good morning, everybody. As we start the Chitas of the day, today is Friday, the sixth reading of the Parsha, Parsha's Vatat Tzava, chapter 29, verse number 38. Teda is talking about the dedication of the Beis Hamikdash, the dedication of the Kehanim Gedolim, their inauguration of the investing them with the service of the Beis Hamikdash. And the Torah here continues and talks about how to sanctify, actually, to bring about that the Mizbeach, the altar, has a proverb, has the power of bringing shalom, bringing peace between the Jewish people and God, and that was the avodah of the Mizbeach, the service of the Mizbeach, and this service of the Mizbeach was done every single day, because the Mizbeach brought karbanis every single day. Because every single day we needed the service of the shalom, the peace between the Jews and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, between humanity and God. And this is what you shall do to the altar, which was done every day. You needed to bring a lamb, and in their first year, 2 a day. Every day, and that's what the whole prayer service is established on. If it's a keves, the first keves, the first lamb, was brought up in the morning. That was a shachar service. If it's a keves hasheni, in the second sacrifice, tasa ben abayim, you shall bring in the afternoon, which is the mincha service. Visarein and 1/10 of fine flour. Visarein seilas belula b'shemim. Besides the sacrifice, with the sacrifice was brought a meal offering, which was 1/10 of flour, belula b'shemen, that was thoroughly mixed with a neva kosis, which they crushed neva hin, 1/4 of a hin of crushed olive oil, nesach, and besides that, you need to bring every day with this carbon was a wine libation, it's called Nesach Revius hin, and a libation of 1/4 of a hin of wine, like keves echad, to one lamb. So now she says these calculations are Torah calculations. 1/10 of an ephah is a volume of 43 1/5 of an egg. So if you crack 43 1/5 of an egg, you put it into a bag, into a jar, to any kind of vessel, and then you'll see how much that is. Bashem and Kosis, crushed is not stated as being obligatory, but simply to make it acceptable. Since it says crushed for the lighting, implying for use of lighting, but not for the use of the meal offering. I would possibly think that the verse means to disqualify it for the meal offering. Therefore, the Torah states it could be crushed. Just like it was the first oil was used for the menorah, it could be used for the mincha. It didn't need it to be used for the mincha. You could use the second, the more processed oil for the mincha. But the Torah wants to tell you that it could be used for the mincha. The stated only exclude the meal offering, that they did not require crushed oil. Even oil grounded in a mill is acceptable for the mincha. So the Torah just wants to tell you that you can also use the first press, so to say, for the oil of the mincha. Revahin is shalish lugin. It's 3 lugs. 3 lugin. Benesach. Again, these are Torah calculations of the volume, the nesach, and the libation for the basin, as it was learned in the tractate of Sukkah. 2 silver basins were on top of the altar, and they had a hole like 2 fine nostrils. He, the kohen, poured the wine into these basins, and it would flow and exit to the nostrils and fall on the roof of the altar, from where it would descend through the holes in the altar to the foundation. So on the top of the altar, the corners of the altar had holes on top of it. And through that, the kohen would pour it into the basin that was on top of those holes. And it would go into the holes, and that would go into the foundation of the Mizbeach, into the earth of the Mizbeach. And its copper altar would descend from the altar to the ground. So so just like in the Beis Hamikdash that was in the Yerushalayim, they had these two holes on top. Also, they had two holes on the base of the Mizbeach where the blood was poured, and the blood also went from the base into the ground. So that's why when you'll see when Torah says all the rest of the blood you pour on the base of the altar. So the base of the altar that I showed you yesterday was that base that surrounded the altar. In that base, also in the corner there was two holes where the blood went into those two holes and went into the ground. I don't have the book in front of me, but we'll show you that picture. If somebody else has the picture, show you that picture exactly where those two holes were. Verse number 41, the second one, the second offering you'll bring in the afternoon. Just like what you did in the morning, ukiniska and all its libations. Tasela, you'll do exactly what you did in Shachris. In the morning, you'll do in the afternoon. This was an offering to God. This one was called the Korban Tamid, brought every morning and every afternoon. This is one of the reasons why we fasted the 17th day of Tammuz, because then was Bittul Korban Tamid. On the 17th day of Tammuz, tell you exact year right now, not, but an exact year that we mavatel, the Romans were mavatel the Korban Tamid. And that's why we fast on the 17th day of Tammuz. Because this sacrifice was such an important sacrifice and brought such unbelievable things for the world and for the Jewish nation. And it was ultimately stopped. This is stated regarding the meal offering. For the meal offering of the libation is entirely burnt. And the order of the sacrifice is first the limbs of the burnt offering, were brought, and afterward the meal offering, as it says, the burnt offering and the meal offering. So first the korban was born, and then they put on the mizbeach this meal offering. Oilas tamid. It's a continual. This shall be done every single day. L'deirei secha, and that's why again the Anshe Knesset Agdel, the rabbis, the Great Assembly, established Shachas and Mincha after the destruction of the temple, that the Jews would pray every morning Shachas and Mincha. That's a chayva that's established for these two sacrifices that were brought every single day. Ashivoy lachem shama, which I will come to you there, ledaber lecha, to speak to you sham there. Tamid, Rashi says, over here means continuously, means every day. Every day, 7 days a week. Even on Shabbos was brought the korban tamid. Even on Yom Kippur was brought the korban tamid. The korban tamid started the day, and the korban tamid ended the day. Nothing was brought before the sacrifice. Nothing was brought after the afternoon korban tamid. As I said, it opened the temple by daybreak. It shut the temple by sunset. And that's the way it was done every single day. When I arrange a time to speak to you, Rashi says, I will arrange to come there. So I derive from here that since the time of the Mishkan was erected, the Holy One, blessed be He, spoke to Moshe from above the copper altar. Otherwise, others, however, say he spoke to Moshe from the ark cover. And there's an argument exactly where did he speak to him? But the question is, how did Moshe Rabbeinu go into the temple? It's a big problem. Moshe Rabbeinu was not a Kohen. He was a Levi. And he was not allowed in the temple. A Levi is not allowed in the Beis Hamikdash. Only a Kohen is allowed in the Beis Hamikdash. So he was not allowed in the building. So others, however, say that he was spoken to cover. So I'll speak to you at the top of the cover. And where I'll arrange the meaning to you, stated, not stated about the altar, but about the tent of meaning mentioned in the verse. So there's an argument, as always, exactly how did this work? Because it says that Moshe Rabbeinu came to the tent of meeting. Did he stand? Where exactly did he hear the voice coming from? It says in one verse A, it says another verse B. So it's not exactly clear. And I'll arrange meetings with the Jewish people, and I'll be sanctified by my glory. So Rashi says, I'll arrange to speak with them, the children of Israel, as a king who arranges to place to speak there to his servants. And I'll sanctify this Mishkan. What means I'll sanctify the Mishkan with my glory? That my Shechina, my presence, will dwell in it. The Haggadah and Medrash say, do not be b'chvaydi ela bim mechvadai, with my honored ones. Over here, he hinted to Moshe about the deaths of the two sons of Aaron. On the day the Mishkan was ultimate, the 8th day. So here God says, I'm going to sanctify with those who I sanctify with. This is what Moshe meant when he said, this is what the Lord says, with the close to me, I will be sanctified. Later, Moshe Rabbeinu tells Aaron, on the day of the passing of his two sons, he says, this is what God meant. Now I understood the pasuk. I understand what God said. I will sanctify myself b'chvaydi, not b'chvaydi with my glory, with those who give glory to me. Now, where did he speak that? That is what he said over here. I will be sanctified by my glory. So over here, God already prophesies the passing of the two sons of Aaron. I'll sanctify the tent of meeting, Vesamizbeach and the altar, Aaron, Vesbanav, and Aaron and his sons. Akadesh, I will sanctify Lechain Li, to serve me. Verse 45, V'shachanti b'seir b'nei Yisrael, and I will dwell in the midst of the children of Israel. Vayisi lahem lelehim, and I'll be to them as a God. Verse 46, V'yadu, and they will know, Kani Hashem Elokeichem, I am God, their God. Asher etzeisi yosam eretz Mitzrayim, which took them out of the land of Egypt. L'shachni b'seichem, what I do that all, so that I will dwell in their midst. Ani Hashem Elokeichem, I am God, your God. Rashi says, L'shachni b'seichem, with the intention that I dwell in their midst. The Eibishter wanted, as it says, last says, Dira b'tachtonim, says in the Zohar, the Eibishter created this world and gave the Jews a Torah so that he would be able to have Shechina b'tachtonim. He'd be able to dwell in this world, not in a hidden way, but in a revealed way. And that's the avodah of a Jew, to reveal godliness in this world. And that completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We are holding in chapter 29 of Tanya. And the Alter Rebbe brought an Eitzah. How does one break his Timtum Halev? How does one break his indifference when he just has the dullness of the heart? And the Alter Rebbe brings a Zohar, a statement of Rav, great sage, as he taught it in Gan Eden, in paradise. And he said that just like a log, you needed to be able for the fire to consume it, you need to break it. So too, you need to break the guf. Now, what does that mean? So we need to go to the core of everything. The core of all problems in our guf. And the core is one word: ego. Gasus. Ego. Self-arrogance. Arrogance. Gasus aklipa. The cause of this deficiency. Don't destroy your life. Go to the cause of the problem. That's mevachinle. Separate the issue. Let's go to the problem. Don't make it that the problem in everything in my life, and I'm basically deficient. I am a loser. Let's go to the core of a problem. The core of a problem is arrogance. Gasus. You can be, and arrogance is, you can say your arrogance is to self-preservation, or you're protecting yourself. It's arrogance is arrogance. We're not talking about self-worth. We're talking about ego. Every person should have self-worth. Nobody should be a nobody. We're not nobodies, but we shouldn't be egotistical. We shouldn't have arrogance. Any ego that brings to arrogance is von Klipper. That's the cause. That is the root. Don't break anything. Don't break everything down. Break this down. How do we break our own arrogance? How do we talk to our own ego? Because this is the cause. This is the chametz that we talk about, getting rid of chametz, yeast, ga'ava, arrogance. We need to break our arrogance. We need to break our arrogance. We're not so great. We're important. We have a lot of worth, but we have to break that we're so great. Greater than others, greater than God. We need to break that arrogance. I'm Kshay Oirif. The Abisha says, I've given the Yidden a lot of power, but sometimes they use it for akshus. They use it for their stubbornness. They use it for their arrogance. I need to take my arrogance. I need to bring humility in my life. And the Alter Rebbe is going to be very tough over here, my friends. And I believe that the Alter Rebbe wants to go to the end degree to tell you how important it is to break your arrogance. It's not just oh, let's have humility. You need to take time to break that arrogance. Arrogance is not going to just go away because we build it up. The Alter Rebbe now proceeds to how this is accomplished. He points out that the personality of the Beinoni is an animal soul. When the Beinoni says I, gotta break the I. There's no I. He's referring to his animal soul. Thus, by crushing his own spirit, he crushes it to the end to break the I. It's not about me. He has to make time to break his ego. He needs to say, I'm a lowly nobody. I am not so great. I'm a simple person. I'm like the guy the Alter Rebbe said before, I'm the homeless guy living in the street. Stop building up my ego. And we need to do that. We need to create time. And this is because we can't make this a dangerous thing. Because again, it's not making yourself lowly. It's pinpointed towards my ego. Akosov, as it says, V'leiv nishbar, a broken heart. Ruach nishbara, yasitra acher. Shi ahodam atzmai. Breaking the spirit is me. My ego is me. It's me. I have to break myself. The bainim in a middle man. For his heart, the vital soul, which animates the body, is in full strength as it's born, and it is indeed the very man himself. Your nefesh Bahamis is building me up and making me egotistical to think that I am the center of the universe. And I'm so important. And my covered and my self-worth, it's all your ego. You need to have humility in life. I need humility. I need to bring my life to have humility. And that's the difference between your nefesh Bahamis and your godly soul. Your godly soul is humble because it totally knows its source. He knows where it came from. He knows that the source of his whole entity, his existence, is God. So he has total humility to God. My animalistic soul thinks he's a self-made man. I don't need anybody. Everybody needs me. I need to break that. I need to break that. I need time to think about who I really am. And I'm not so great. Even Moshe Rabbeinu had that humility. And he said his humility was, even though he was a great man, he said, that's a gift by God. I'm not a self-made man. Everything was given to me by a gift, so I have nothing better over anybody else. Everybody could have been given that gift. So I was given the gift. I should thank God. I should be humble. I was given such a gift. Doesn't make me better. Doesn't make me more important. It doesn't make me greater. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was the Ono Mikol Adam. He had more humility than the simple person because he took everything that it was given to him as a gift. And that's the godly soul. Godly soul takes everything as a gift. He knows where he sees everything. And he knows the godly soul. He sees everything from God. He has no personal agenda. He has no personal needs. It's when it becomes animalistic, when we have personal needs. The I becomes important. The me becomes important. The ego starts to build oneself that is nothing, that in truth is nothing. So that's why it says, nefesh elokis, on the godly soul, it says, neshama shenasata bi tahodahi. The soul which you give within me is pure. The word within me cannot be understood as referring to the body alone. The body cannot speak for itself as a complete man. Thus, it must refer to the animating soul. Therefore, the word within me, which you gave within me, implies that the man the man himself who is saying these words is not identified with the pure soul. That's the problem. Sheneshama shenasata bi tahayri. I, my animalistic soul, is far from tahira. Unless in the case of tzaddikim. By a tzaddik, his neshama and his guf both became pure. But I say, the Neshama shenasata bi, the Neshama that you put into me, into my animalistic soul, the Neshama that you put into my body, Tahirahi, that is pure. Me, I'm egotistical. I have self. I think that I'm a self-made man. I'm not so pure. I need to be able to bring the purity of the neshama, to be able to reveal itself in myself. And that's the way you do it. The way to do it is to make the guf, to make the ego a little bit less value. Because with them, by tzaddikim, the contrary is true. A man, by a tzaddik, the man himself is the pure soul, meaning the divine soul. While the body is called the flesh of man, means secondary to man himself, the divine soul. By a tzaddik, he's an anav. That's why the tzaddikim were all anavim. They were all humble. They put their body secondary. They put themselves secondary. That's why tzaddikim, Moshe Rabbeinu, gave up his whole life for the Jewish nation. Pashat, his physical life, the life of family, the life of everything, he gave up to be Moshe Rabbeinu. Because his neshama was pure in his body. But by us, a Beinani, we need to work on our nefesh habahamis. We need to work on our ego. We need to take time, as the Alter Rebbe says over here, and we complete the Tanya of the day, and the Alter Rebbe will continue. We need to take time to put our body in its right perspective in concerning of the neshama. We need to put the body in its place and tell it, you're great, you're important. Let's get rid of the ego. Let's get rid of the I. Let's really talk about the body, what it is. It's there as a vehicle. It's there as a vehicle to accomplish things. That's what it's there. Don't make it more than it is. And that's the source of all klippus, my friends, is gasus, ego. Break the ego. If I can break my ego, if I can bring humility to myself, I can accomplish this easier. Until I don't break my ego, I can. That's why the Gemara actually says you have a maneuver b'reshus Torah. You can have a person that has great knowledge, but he's actually a bigger egotistical person. It doesn't happen through learning. It happens through learning who I am and being honest who I am and stop making myself so great, but realizing that I should break my ego. I should become a little bit more selfish, selfless. Because that's who I really am. I am a good person. I am a selfless person. I am a godly person. And only thing that's blocking me, as we say, is only the little yeast, the little chametz that I have within me, the little ego that is blocking. This little yeast blocks everything from happening. And we need to break it. That completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the 10th day of the month, which is chapter in your Tillim, and your Psalms is chapter 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. My friends, tomorrow is Shabbos. I hope that you will continue to do the Tanya and the Chumash and the Tillim tomorrow. And we will meet again on Sunday morning. We'll start a new Parsha of the week and the Tanya of the week. I wish you a wonderful and beautiful Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. May we all be blessed with a happy Shabbos, Shabbos Menucha, Shabbos of tranquility, Shabbos of joy, Shabbos of happiness. it's in the month of Adar, so we should all enjoy. And this Shabbos is also the Shabbos between the birth and the death of the passing of Moshe Rabbeinu and Purim Katan, which is a great Shabbos, a great celebration. We should only have a Yehudim, by Jews, it was Oida, light, V'simcha, V'sasa, and V'ikar. Kain tia lanu, so shall be to us, and every Jew, with the coming of Mashiach, B'mheida, B'yameinu Mamish, have a wonderful and beautiful Shabbos. And we'll see you all again Sunday morning.